Hey everybody, it is Callie here again. Yes, I am again trying to get used to this Texas heat, and I say that because heat is something, the cold and the heat is both something that takes some really mental strength and discipline to get acquired to. I am originally from a cold climate, okay? Where we have snow in winter, and every winter for my whole life, for over 20 some years, no, I am a lot older than what I look, um, I hated the cold. I would shiver, every day going out there, I would put all my gear on and I would be like miserable. I hated it so much. So when I started my meditations and started really growing spiritually, connecting with myself, one day I did a meditation where I asked myself to show me my fears and so I could address them and move on with my life. And in a big, loud voice, the word "the cold" came out, and I was like, oh yeah. So that was a sign to me that it's time for me to deal with my issue with the cold weather. So I started doing different mental disciplines. Like after a super hot shower, I would turn it really cold, and yeah, I would force myself to stand under it until it didn't bother me anymore. And so I started to realize that temperature is merely just a sensation, and it is whatever your mind tells you. So if you're like, oh, it's cold, this sucks, oh, then it's cold and it sucks. But if you say that, hey, it's cold and it's just a feeling and it's just a sensation, then the cold starts to lose its power over you. And so my last year I had to spend in the winter, it was awesome because it didn't bother me. I was able to be outside. I didn't shiver anymore. I completely had mastered the cold. So life was like, all right, Callie, we're going to throw something else at you, and we're going to throw you in the heat. And so, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to master now the heat. And it is not 100% easy. So you may hear me talk about it from now and then, and I'll just have to remind myself, hey, heat is just a sensation, Callie. It's just a feeling. You're making it feel bad because you think it feels bad. So, yes, with that said, this video is going to be about Kratom, okay? Or also known as Kratom. I'm sure some of you are already familiar with it. It is a herb mainly grown in Indonesia and Malaysia. And over there in Asia, it's huge because people use it when they work really hard hour jobs. But here, it's becoming very well known because it is helping people get off of opiates. Okay, and it's not just opiate addiction that kratom could help with, or it's really many different chemical addictions. From my own personal experience, I'm not going to get too in-depth into detail in this video. I feel like my personal stories is something that should share, later on when you guys get way more acquainted with me. But I was a drug addict for 7 years, starting when I was 19. I entered into a super abusive relationship. Some really bad things happened, and I didn't really know how to cope with what was happening. So I got addicted to pain pills, and that was my way of numbing that emotional anguish that I didn't know how to deal with. So yeah, for the first 5 years, I just, give me death. That's how I felt. I'll die this way. I just will die this way. And I almost did die if it wasn't for my guardian, Mr. Monty, who you guys will really get to know in my videos because he's so important to me. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have ever come back from that really dark place. And so yeah, it was about 3 to 4 years. I just was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to be a drug addict. This is how I'll die. I don't care. And then when I got him, I was about to die. I was in the hospital all the time. Couldn't breathe. Was actually dying. pancreas started shutting down, and so yeah, that stopped the, you know, the wanting to die. And then from there, it was like, okay, I want to get sober, but how? I didn't know how to get sober. It was really hard. So then I had to really file through my mental, emotional, and physical state. And, you know, that wasn't easy. It took about 4 years, actually. And, oh, it's a little tiny baby lizard. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. It's a little tiny baby lizard. Whoa, I never, like, okay, where I'm from, we don't actually have lizards. So I hope you guys saw it. I don't know if you did, but I really hope you did. It was this big. It was so cute. Okay, so yeah, back to my story. So I started off with the mental part, right? Getting my mind cleared. And then I went from that to the emotional part. And I will be going so much more in depth in all this, because if any of you guys suffer with addiction, which we all do, it stems from emotional trauma, okay? It stems from emotional attachment. So it was about 4 years into my journey. I did journal throughout this whole thing. So I have actually, which I will be publishing soon, a journal that completely encaptures my journey of sobriety. But it's about the end of my journey. I had the mental part figured out. I had the emotional part figured out. I was suffering so bad trying to figure out this physical and chemical addiction, because addiction is one thing, but then when your body is physically addicted to something and chemically used to, dependent on something, it is really hard, you know, because your mind is like, you're gonna die without it. And even though you know it's not true, it feels like you're gonna die without it, and you get really sick. And so when they were about to do this ban in 2016, I was told by a friend that it actually really helped him. He wasn't able to get sober because he still had a lot of emotional trauma to deal with. It wasn't necessarily the physical part, it was the emotional part for him. And so I bought it, got it September 27th, 2016. That was the first day I ever took it. It took away all my withdrawals, everything that I was suffering from. And that was actually the last time. That was the day that everything in my life started to really, really change and excel forward at a quick rate. I was only on it for like 3 months. You know, at that time I was meditating daily, really connecting, doing a lot of body communication, connecting with my body. And yeah, it took me 2 days to really, I drank a bunch of strength infused water and never looked back. And people will say, oh, addiction is a disease, addiction is a disease. It's not. It's really not. Well, I mean, I guess dis-ease. Yes, I was in dis-easement, but it is not an incurable disease, okay? There is a cure. Like, you can heal yourself, and if that's something you're searching for and want, you will come across what you need. If that is something you truly want, it takes willpower, you know? Where there's the will, there's a way. That's very true. And so, yeah, I just wanted to make this quick little video about Kratom, because not only did it save my life, and it saved my life. Yeah, it really helps, because when you're on drugs, you cannot see things clearly. Your perception is so altered. It is so altered. It's not the real reality that you're experiencing. It just is a lie. It's a major lie. So, yeah, Kratom has saved my life. I know numerous other people's that it saved their life. If you want to get off the opiates, it actually works on the mu receptors, which are your pain receptors. So it actually really does help with pain. It helps with energy. There's different strains. Maybe I'll get into it a little more depending on the feedback from this. If you guys are really, you know, curious about it, I will definitely delve more into it. I'm going to put a couple links in the description below where you can check it out for yourself. So, yeah. Okay. That about wraps this one up, you guys. I hope you all are enjoying the summer, the blooming flowers, and the nice raging sun wherever you are in the world, in the US, anywhere. And yeah, alright, you guys. Until next time, I'm out.